welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the new year. My name is Kelsey and I'm here to start the new year right. If you've noticed, for the past couple of months I have not filmed a TBR. I was just not in the best of reading moods, but I'm feeling the spirit of, I was about to say Halloween. I'm feeling the spirit of reading again. So I decided to mood read, not really mood read. I had like a bit of a TBR, but like mood read for the rest of November and December, and then start the year fresh with a very exciting TBR. So the month of January is my birthday, and I always like to read books that I really want to read in the month of January to kind of like start the year off right. So there's going to be a variety of books here just because I really want to like either start things that I've been putting off or start books that I know I'm going to like and then therefore been putting them off. So we'll start with the first book that I absolutely need to read in January just because I want to be on top of my arcs this year. I've been requesting less and less arcs just so that I can more easily like follow them. So the first book and the only arc I have for January, so that's a little plus for me already, is Womb City by Tlotlo Tsamase. And this is like a dark, deadly, futuristic Botswana. So it's rich with culture and true folklore, but it begs the question, how far must one go to destroy the structures of inequality upon which a society was founded? How much must a mother do to save her and her child? So Nella seems to have it all: wealth, fame, and a husband and a child on the way. But in a body her husband controls via microchip and the tailspin of a loveless marriage, her hopes and dreams come to a devastating halt. Okay, I thought this was just like a dystopian scientific future, but this seems to be like a horrific, like, it has a ghost, a monster, like what is happening? I don't feel like I fully read the synopsis when I requested this one. I probably just read that beginning portion, which sounded super interesting for me. Now I'm even more excited to dive into this. I'm probably going to dive into it like after this video. Wish me luck, because this sounds really exciting. Next, we have a book I started in the month of December just because I knew that the last week of December was going to be really busy for me. So I just really wanted to ease into the new year listening to an audiobook of a series that I'm fairly comfortable with. This is The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan, and it is book 5, yes, in the Wheel of Time series. The Wheel of Time series is this ever expanding, well, it's not ever expanding because it stopped expanding. Enthralling, what word am I trying to say? Is this expansive series that follows Rand al'Thor. He is considered to be the Dragon Reborn. In this world, every like coming of age kind of circles in like a wheel, so to say. And the Dragon Reborn is kind of helmed as someone who will come in and change the narrative of the world. And obviously in book 5, we are very far deep into character developments and the way that the plot and the story is going. I am currently on page 570, so I really expect to finish this book within the next couple of days, but I did want to include this just because it will probably be one of the first books I read in 2024. And I'm really trying to finish the Wheel of Time series this year. That's one of my goals, just because I want to get it over with. If you've been following my journey with the Wheel of Time series, you know that I'm not really enjoying it to the amount that I wanted to, but this one has been a great addition so far, and I've been really enjoying part of the series and where the characters are in this current moment. I'm having a lot more luck with this one, so that makes me a bit more excited to continue the series. So in January, I also plan to put out my best of and worst of 2023 videos, and so I don't have much time to give myself for vlogs. And what I really wanted to do is reread Mona Awad's first book. This thing that I have with authors is that I like to read them in like kind of publication order, just so I can follow their journey from worst writing to essentially best writing if we follow that they get better over time. And so when I started off hearing about Bunny and wanting to read Bunny, I knew that I wanted to read Mona Awad's first book. And so this is 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl. And it was my first experience with Mona Awad and I really hated it. I ended up giving this 2 stars when I had read it, I think like 3 years ago at this point, or 4 years ago at this point. I wasn't like completely entranced or understood really Mona Awad's like weird sense of disorientation in novels and quite frankly unhinged main characters. So I feel like knowing the way Mona Awad writes now and understanding the way that she writes characters, I feel like I could potentially enjoy this book more. So this is sort of like a reading vlog to go into this again and see how I feel about it. So this follows a young Canadian girl named Lizzie, and Lizzie has never liked the way that she looks, and this kind of goes throughout time where she both gains and loses weight and still feels this like horrendousness about herself. And it's a discussion on like the beauty industry, the way that women think about themselves, and the amount of insane pressure that women put on themselves to always look good but never really feel satisfied on the inside. After reading Rouge and seeing the similarities between these two types of themes, I'm really interested to reread this one and see if I can kind of pickpocket the Mona Awadisms that you see now in her later published works. Generally see if I enjoy this book a bit more now that I know what I'm getting into with Mona Awad. The next book I would like to read, funnily enough, is another Canadian author, and that's Last Night in Montreal by Emily St. John Mandel. I really like Emily St. John Mandel. I've read 2 of her books, Station 11 and The Glass Hotel. And I really loved those books a lot. Before diving into her most recent work, I did want to read her debut, especially because it takes place in Montreal, which is where I'm from and where Emily St. John Mandel went to school.
That's funny. I've never heard of a George Glass at our school.
And this is also for the Professor Kelsey's book club pick for the month of January. We'll be having the discussion for this book the first weekend or whatever of February, so you have plenty of time to pick this one up if you would like to. And this follows a young woman named Lila Albert. One night as a child, her father appeared on her mother's doorstep and took her away from her. And this causes Lila as an adult to kind of move restlessly throughout the city because she doesn't remember much about her childhood. Lila, at the time of this discovering herself, is currently living in New York City and moves all the way to Montreal, and her boyfriend at the time, Eli, follows her there. But what he discovers is a deeper mystery, one that will set past and present spinning towards collision. I'm really interested to see how Emily St. John Mandel's writing has evolved from her debut novel. I've been really looking forward to it. I love books that are set in Montreal just because I love like being like, I know that place, I know that. So I'm very excited to pick this one up. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I've been really liking Olivia Blake, specifically the Atlas 6 series, and I want to pick up more from her. I pre-ordered all of her books after reading the Atlas 6 because I thought that I was going to love her works, and I have not picked them up because of that fear. So I just want to start 2024 with this like book that I think will be so monumental and good for me, and that's Alone with You in the Ether. And from what I understand, this is like kind of a fantasy novel, but also a philosophical discussion, but also a romance. So 2 people meet in an art institute by chance. Prior to their encounter, Aldo is a doctoral student who manages his destructive thoughts with compulsive calculations for time travel. Reagan is a bipolar counterfeit artist undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true, but this story is not about endings. So this just sounds, I don't know, really beautiful. I love Olivia Blake's writing. I think she has the like most beautiful writing I've encountered in a really long time. So I just really think that I'm going to love this book. I've been putting it off and I really just need to bite the bullet and read it. After that, I will be continuing my buddy read of the Locked Tomb series with my friend Jenny over at Jenny Reads Maybe. We are starting Nona the Ninth. This is the 3rd book in the Locked Tomb series, a series that both of us really adore. I'm speaking for myself here, but it is the by far most confusing series I've ever read, but also my obsession. The way that this series has captured me and enthralled me is crazy. But basically, the first book follows a character named Gideon, who is kind of tasked with following her realm's planet's queen to another planet in order to become what is referred to as a lictor. And this is a position wanted by the leaders of each specific planet. These planets are called the tombs, which is why both Gideon, Harrow, and Nona, this character Nona, all come from this 9th tomb. The first book follows them as they discover the ins and outs of the magic system and how expansive it is and what it takes to become a lictor. And then the story unfolds from there. It's so convoluted and so complicated that I don't want to say much more of fear of like spoiling something so incredibly small because every detail matters. Absolutely love Tamsin Muir's writing style. I think she's so funny. She's really doing something here and I really love it. I know that this will be a confusing experience, but it will be an experience that I am here for. So, and then something so fun. So I decided to join an in-person book club here in Montreal just because I'm always looking for people in my city that read books and specifically English book clubs, because if you're not aware, Quebec is a province in Canada where the first language is French. So I've been looking for just an English book club to join, and a lot of the independent bookstores here in Montreal do some sort of bookish events. So I was really trying at the end of last year to really support these indie bookstores and attend these events. And so one of these goals has been to join these book clubs. So this book club is called Books Are Magic MTL. I will leave a link down below to their Instagram if you're from Montreal and you would like to join the book club. And the book for January's book club is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. If you've been watching my channel for a bit, you know that I absolutely adore Becky Chambers a lot, like a lot. Before I get to A Psalm for the Wild Built, I would really like to read the final book in the Wayfarer trilogy? No, it's a series. The Galaxy and the Ground Within. The Wayfarer series started with The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is essentially a story of a ship of different individuals who come together in order to kind of jump through hyperspace in order to like collect things. The series then follows different characters, so you can kind of join in at any point in the series and like follow along, but I have been reading it in order. And again, just because I love to read authors in publication, I don't want to read A Psalm for the Wild Built before I read The Galaxy and the Ground Within. So this is the fourth and final book from what I understand. When a freak technological failure halts traffic to and from the planet Gora, three strangers are thrown together unexpectedly with seemingly nothing to do but wait. Pei is a cargo runner at personal crossroads, torn between her duty to her people and her duty to herself. Pei, I think, also appeared in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, so there's always like a connection to the first book. Rovag is an exiled artist with a deeply urgent and longed for family appointment to keep. Speaker has never been far from her twin, but now must endure the endurable separation. And under the care of Ulu, an enterprising alien, and Tupo, her occasionally helpful child, the trio are compelled to confront where they've been, where they might go, and what they might be to one another. Together, they will discover that even in the vastness of space, they are not alone. This will obviously come into some sort of discussions about found family, and I just love Becky Chambers' writing. I think it's so cozy. It's definitely cozy sci-fi. It's a very positive look at the future and our integration into other elements of the universe that we don't even know exists yet. I just absolutely love Becky Chambers a lot. So I definitely think I'm going to read this one soon, just so that I can have A Psalm for the Wild Built read before January 23rd, which is when the book club occurs. So Psalm for the Wild Built is a short novella that takes place obviously in the future. It's been centuries since the robots of Panga gained self-awareness and laid down their tools. Centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again. And centuries since they faded into myth and urban legend. One day, the life of a T-monk is upended by the arrival of a robot. The robot has one question: what do people need? But the answer to that question depends on who you ask and how. They're going to need to ask it a lot. And I just think that this is going to be extremely meaningful and moving, much like with the rest of Becky Chambers' work. These two books, I think, will either make me cry, make me smile and feel humble. I'm just very excited to get into this cozy sci-fi feeling in January, which is, I feel, exactly what I need. And then finally, the last book I would really like to get to this month is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I read Horror Story by Grady Hendrix sometime last year and absolutely adored it. And I think Grady Hendrix really kickstarted my need to read horror these past few months, because I have just been in such a horror mood, and I really do think it's because of Grady Hendrix. But this is one of Grady Hendrix's books that I'm the most scared of to read, but also the one I want to read the most. One of my most extreme fears is possession. To give you Kelsey lore context, I was raised Roman Catholic, as much Italian Americans are raised. And so I have developed a fear for ghosts, religion, possession, the devil. The fear in the devil is really strong within me. Possession is just one of those things that I cannot watch on television. I can't watch a movie about possession. I can't watch a movie about like hauntings, ghosts. That shit freaks me out. This book, I'm predicting, will be very scary, but I hope really campy to Grady Hendrix's like campiness of writing style. So high school sophomores Abby and Gretchen have been best friends since 4th grade, but after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches a terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question: is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? I'm really hoping Grady Hendrix is going to tackle, like, not puberty necessarily, but the growing pains of young teenage girls in this framework of possession with the devil. I'm really hoping it's going to be about that, and I'm just really excited to read this. I love the cover. It feels so campy and 80s, which is exactly what I'm expecting from Grady Hendrix. So this is a book that I'm terrified to read but eagerly anticipating. And then you would think, with all of that, Kelsey, calm down. No, I will not. I have 2 books that I would really like to tackle if I'm able to, otherwise they will just be pushed into every single month that we move forward with. The first is The Hexologist by Josiah Bancroft. This was my friend Danny over at Current Chapters Patreon book club pick in, I think it was October, and the consensus was not good. And so it really made me push this book off, and I have not picked it up since because I've been terrified that I'm not going to enjoy it. But then Reagan over at Peru's Project read this book and she really liked it, but she really likes Josiah Bancroft. So I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to stand on this book. I do have it on audio, so I think it's just a book that I will listen to and hopefully enjoy. It follows 2 hexologists, Isolde and Warren Wilby, who are quite accustomed to helping desperate clients with the bugbears of city life. Aided by hexes and a bag of charmed relics, the Wilbys are well acquainted with the weird and they never shy away from a challenging case. But when they are approached by the royal secretary and told that the king pleads to be baked into a cake, going so far as to wedge himself inside of a lit oven, the Wilbys soon find themselves embroiled in a mystery that could very well see the nation turned on its head. So it sounds really interesting. I'm just really hoping that I enjoy it, and I think probably listening to it on audio will be a lot easier for me to pick up this book and hopefully enjoy it. So that's a hopeful goal for January. And then again, if I have time, if I finish all of those, I would like to start. I'm not crazy and think that I will finish this in January, but I would like to just start the 6th book in the Wheel of Time series, Lord of Chaos. I'm trying to keep up with Sandra over at Got a Thing for Things' What Read Along, and I'm 2 books behind, as you can clearly see, because they are currently on book 7. This is the largest book in the Wheel of Time series. I believe it is over 1,000 pages. So if I have time and I could fit this in somehow and listen to it somehow, I would love to do so. I just want to catch up and follow along with them every 2 months instead of sprinting my way through these books and potentially or not potentially enjoying them. And that's it. Those are all of the books I would like to read in the month of January. If you've read any of them, please let me know what you thought about them. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know. And also let me know what you guys are reading this month and what are your anticipated reads for January and February and the rest of 2024. And if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias just to see my reading journey, I'm really trying to be on top of Instagram this year. But if you would like to follow me on those social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I tell you every time, but it does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!